In section 8.5, I will talk about variable length parameter lists. Suppose that we wanted to create a method that processed a different amount of data from one invocation to the next. For example, let's define a method called average that returns the average of a set of integer parameters. So look at these two examples of method call. One call to average 3 values. So this average method is called with 3 parameters, 3 integer parameters. And this time average is called with 7 integer parameters. Okay, how can you do this? At first you will think about method overloading, I think. We could define overloaded versions of the average method, right? But here is a downside. We need a separate version of the method for each additional parameter, right? Because we need this is method overloading. We need 2 definitions, right? 2 definitions of average. So one should look like this. There are 3 parameters here. And one more average method with 7 parameters, right? So if we define like this 2 method overloaded methods, then we can solve the problem. Okay. Another way to do that is using arrays. So we would define the method to accept an array of integers. Here is also a downside. We must create the array and store the integers prior to calling the method each time. Okay, and this is the method header for that. Instead, Java provides a convenient way to create variable length parameter list. I will explain about this. Using special syntax in the formal parameter list, we can define a method to accept any number of parameters of the same type. Okay, any number of parameters of the same type. For each call, the parameters are automatically put into an array for easy processing in the method. Okay, so see this one, average is the method name, and this part, see that this part is a parameter part, right? So here we can put these 3 dots. Okay, this indicates a variable length parameter list. Okay, and this is the element type, and this will be an array name. Okay, so this means that any number of parameters can be passed to here. Okay. Here is an example. This is a test method, and see int and ... and v. This means that any number of integer values can be passed to v. Okay. Then number of arguments will be printed out and with a length. Actually, this is an array. Okay, this is an array. And this is the loop that prints out the array. Okay, print out the elements of the array v. So if I call this method like this, then there are 7 integer values. Then automatically v, the array, will be created like this. Okay, v is an array with 7 integer values. Okay, this is a variable length parameter. Okay, this is a variable length parameter. Okay, this example shows how to call test using variable length parameter. So this is the same test method we have seen in the previous page, and in the main we call test method several times. At first we call test method without parameters. Then v does not have any data, right? So number of arguments is 0. Okay, v the length is 0, and there is nothing to print out here. Okay, and then test 1 is called, then there is only one value array, right? So number of arguments is 1, and the value in the array is just 1. Okay, so 1 is printed out. And if the test is called like this, test 3, 5, then this time 2 integers will be passed to this v array. Okay, so v the length is 2, and if we print out the array v, then 3, 5 will be printed out. And if we call test with these 3 values, then length is 3, and these values will be stored in array v. So 100, 200, 300 will be printed out. Let's just see this example. Here, average method takes variable length data like this and computes the average of these numbers. So here, if there is a parameter, then this part is the finding sum of the array, right? And then the sum is divided by length, then we can have the average of the list. So this is finding average of list, and in the main method, main calls average method twice. First, average is called by passing 5 values, and next average is called by passing 4 values. See, so we have seen that the same method is called with a different number of parameters using just one method, average. The type of the parameter can be any primitive or object type. So object can be in the variable parameter list. So in this example, the method printGrades has parameters like this, and here we can see that this is variable length parameter, and grade is a class. So the object of grade will be passed here. Okay. This is the class grade. The grade will have 2 values, score and grade. And score is just a number, and grade is A, B, C, D, like that. This is a constructor and toString method. We will use this object of grade, as a parameter, variable parameter of some methods. In this class, there is a printGrades method that has a variable length parameter. At this time, parameters are object of a grade class. And in main, 5 grade objects are created like this. And then printGrades method is called with just one object. And here 2 objects, 3 objects, and 5 objects. Okay, according to this, the grades will have just one object, 2, 3, or 5 objects like that. And then just print out the object. So this is the result. I think you can understand this one. So here I want to say that the object also can be a variable length parameter. Let's do some quick check. Write a method called distance that accepts a variable number of integers which each represent the distance of one leg of a trip, and returns the total distance of the trip. I show you the code. Okay, the name of the method is distance, and it will accept a variable number of integers. Okay, so int should be here, and this means variable length parameter, and put any name of the variable. Actually, this name will be an array, and here using for each loop, the code find the sum of all the numbers passed to here. Okay, so this is the code for this question. A method that accepts a variable number of parameters can also accept other parameters. For example, the following method accepts an int, a string object, and a variable number of double values into an array called nums. See, the test method has one integer parameter and one string object and variable number of double values like this. When you do this, you must be careful. I will explain about that. Here, the varying number of parameters must come last in the formal arguments. So this is okay. This test method has one int, one string, and variable length parameter like this. So this comes last. So this is okay. But if you write like this, here int and variable length parameter is in the middle and string is in the last. This is an error. If you want to have a variable length parameters, then it must come last like this. And a method cannot accept two sets of varying parameters. You cannot put more than two sets of varying parameters like this. You cannot do this. Constructors can also be set up to accept a variable number of parameters. Let's see this example. This class has a method called larger than value. It has one integer parameter and variable length parameter. Okay, so like this, a variable argument should be written at the end of the parameter list. Okay, and there can be only one variable argument. Okay, we cannot put two sets of variable argument. So you can analyze this one. And in main method, the larger than value is called with one value. 10 will be value. 10 will be assigned to value, and this part will be v. Okay, because there is one integer value in front of this variable argument. And likewise, in the second call, 5 is value. Okay, 5 will pass to value, and the rest these 6 numbers will be assigned to array v. Okay, and also this time 100 is value. Okay, 100 will be value, and the rest elements here, rest parameters will be the values in v. Okay, this example is from the textbook. This example shows that the constructor also can have variable length parameters like this. And this class has one array member as a member variable and two string method. And I will show how this constructor is called. So here in main, the family object is created like this. At this moment, family constructor will be called, right? So here there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 strings. There are 6 strings, and in the second call, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are 9 strings here. Okay, so there is only one constructor, And the first time, the constructor is called with 6 parameters. And next, constructor is called with 9 parameters. So this means that constructor also can have variable length arguments.